What's going on, everyone? So it is episode 148, right? Dylan, help me out. Of the Demons from Outer Space. Putting them on the spot right up at the top. Dylan McCann.
What do you know?
64 is how.
What do you know?
Zazubaar
just uploaded the latest episode of the Sons of Zero was our podcast. Never heard of it. Anyway.
Well, clearly you heard of it because you subscribed, so. Gotcha. Got him.
That doesn't even say anything. I am constantly looking at my subscriptions and realizing that I accidentally clicked the subscribe button on some random video I watched 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I do that all the time too.
And then I'm like, who are these fucking people?
Yeah,
it's 148.
Look at me. I'm a memory champion. What's Dylan's birthday though? I actually genuinely don't know. It wasn't that long ago though. I do remember that.
Yeah, it was not quite a month ago, but close to a month ago.
Right on. I vaguely remember. My bad. Anyway, so tonight is going to be the last in our Infinity War trilogy. Infinity War is out. Dylan and I have seen it, and we've done a podcast on it that you can go listen to.
Yeah. We're not gonna not spoil things in this video either. So if you don't want spoilers,
we're not gonna talk about the movie at any kind of great length either.
No, it's not gonna be the main topic of discussion, but it might come up, and if it does
it'll come up.
when it comes up, we're probably gonna spoil some shit. So just play it safe. Don't listen if you haven't seen the movie.
We're gonna make a lot of jokes, all right, and some of those jokes will be spoilers about some of the really tragic things that happened in the third act.
You know, and
in order to make light of them, in order to take possession of them, and prove our power over them.
Some of those jokes will work, and some of them will die harder than Spider-Man. But we'll just see.
There you go. That's just the right level of morbidness and also like just aptitude that we needed. Deader than Heimdall. So.
Dead Spider-Man jokes are my new favorite thing.
So, very, very fitting for tonight, because tonight we're going to be doing a commentary on something that is, I think it's like the most tied to Infinity War, sans the comic we reviewed last time. Way more so than that Hulk episode that we did a commentary on. This is a 3-parter from the 90s Spider-Man cartoon that is a really loose adaptation of the Secret War storyline. So it's a bunch of characters thrown together on an alien planet with a bunch of villains who are, stolen from Earth, just like the heroes, and they're basically being forced to fight for this cosmic being called the Beyonder in order to ultimately prove who wins in the battle between good and evil. I guess that's the idea. I think that's the vague cosmic abstraction we're trying to prove in this one. So, for some reason, everybody's got to be from Earth, except for the ones that aren't.
It's not so much tied to Infinity War as it is Infinity War-esque.
Right, because it involves a crossover between a bunch of Marvel characters that each also got their own series around the same time. So,
right, it involves way too many characters. It involves the Red Skull, and it involves Spider-Man being in space. I told you I was going to spoil shit, people. What are you still doing here? Run for the hills. Anyway.
The hills where they're not spoiling Infinity War. Have you guys seen Infinity War? A what? Thank God.
What's an Infinity War? Oh, I think I've gone too far into the hills. Yeah, you sure got a pretty mouth. Okay, I'm gonna...
Jesus. Not again.
Not again.
I keep going to the wrong hills. Why are there so many hills around my house with fucking gay cannibals behind them? Anyway, aside from that, so you should be able to access this fairly easily via the International Space Satellite in space. It's in season... Hang on.
The last one.
Good. I think it's season... If it's not season 3, it's season 4. Season 5. My bad. It starts at season 5, episode 9. It's Secret Wars Chapter 1 Arrival. This show is also broken up into like chapters because it's all of it is serialized. There's no like real. There are one and done episodes, but they're all like in the middle of these arcs. And Spider-Man's status quo is constantly changing. And at this point, Madam Web had shown up and been like, "Yo, Peter, it's time." And Peter was like, "Oh, fuck. I thought you were just here to give me cool advice sometimes." And she's like, "Nah, now you got to do something for me." And I'm like, "Fuck." So, did you grow up with this show when you were a kid? I did.
Fuck yeah.
This was like the shit when I was a kid. I started out with Batman TAS and Superman TAS, all the DC stuff, which I loved, and that got me into like the idea of superheroes. And then I got into Marvel, and I started reading Marvel comics, and then I found this, and it changed my life. And this became my new favorite thing.
This was my like second favorite comic book cartoon, right behind Batman TAS. Now,
Same.
in hindsight, X-Men is better.
Yeah, objectively the writing there is better, but the writing in this is a lot better than you might remember. The thing that holds this show back is the animation. It's not the writing.
Definitely. There's some bad mid-90s experimental CG here on a TV budget. There's some, otherwise...
I say the writing doesn't hold it back. It sometimes does. Sometimes really bad. But...
even the 2D stuff doesn't always look great. Sometimes it gets a little stiff.
Well, they started recycling footage ad nauseum to the point where you're watching the same episode over and over again, like it's the '60s Spider-Man cartoon. And it's like, come on, man, this is not. What is this? Like, I don't know if they were watching Batman, but if they were, they really were, not taking inspiration on that front. Because God, if they had done that in Batman TAS, it would have been. It would have been like a really big, like fucking total switch up of how they usually do it, because everything on that show was always fresh. At least
it still would have been more.
At least as far as I remember. I mean, they did clip shows, but they didn't do like Batman's doing the same thing he did in this episode, just use the same animation. They never did that.
Yeah, and what I like about these Marvel shows, as opposed to the DC shows of the time, even though I like both, is that the DC shows were very unique in terms of their art style, whereas the Marvel shows, as a contrast, just pretty much looked like the comics did at the time.
I think they're probably stronger adaptations technically because they're closer to the source material, especially of the period. Like it's pretty much just X-Men comics of the 90s and Spider-Man comics of the 90s.
Especially the X-Men, because they just take like later 80s, early 90s just storylines and just retell them.
Even like the Hulk cartoon of the time was like that. It was just all the Peter David stuff and some of the 70s stuff as well, like the Len Wein stuff. But even the Fantastic Four show of the time was pretty much just like.
I don't remember
John
Ghost
Byrne's
Rider.
Run.
I don't remember Ghost Rider showing up to fight Galactus in the comics, but maybe that happened. I don't know.
If it happened, it would have happened in the 90s because that's when Ghost Rider was like a thing again. He was booted out in like the mid 80s, and then they brought him back in like 94, 95.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe earlier than that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was like 92, actually. I'm not sure. I don't know when Danny Ketch became Ghost Rider. Those are comics we have to review on this show. We've talked about the early Ghost Rider stuff, but the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider stuff is like really... That's like the Ghost Rider that everybody really remembers. Because everybody like remembers Johnny Blaze's name and nothing else. I guess they remember the backstory, but everybody really remembers the look and the iconography and the powers of Danny Ketch.
That's what's interesting about the Ghost Rider movie, is that it combines everything that people know about Ghost Rider, which is Johnny Blaze's name / backstory, with Danny Ketch's aesthetic.
Exactly. And I mean, everything they've done with the character since then with Johnny Blaze has just been that. It's just been like the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider design, but with like his fucking baggage. Although now they don't do,
which is of course very.
They've passed on the mantle now. Now it's still Robbie Reyes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
He's an Avenger now. I'm pretty sure, which is weird. It's
is
weird.
He?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, he was on the cover of one of the issues, so I'm pretty sure that Ghost Rider is an Avenger. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's weird.
It's an interesting thing.
So anyway, so we have a lot of cartoon to watch. So why don't we get started? Like I said, you can find this pretty easily. It's on Hulu, I'm pretty sure. At least it was. It was on Netflix a long time ago, but I don't think that's the case now. So I think your options are Hulu. You can buy it. You can buy it on YouTube and Amazon if you want. If you want. Otherwise, like I said, International Space Satellite in space. Dylan and I, we have it up ourselves and ready to go. Dylan, I will advise you to press with an R. Press play in 3, 2, 1, and play. Pow! Love the intro to the show. It's like the best thing ever. I used to sing it all the time, and everybody hated me.
The theme song is very iconic. Almost as iconic to me and no one else as the fucking classic 60s Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
To me it is. I would say it's as iconic as that. I was just wondering why I couldn't hear it, and I just realized it's because I unplugged my microphone before and to change the setting. But I remember when I first watched the show, a lot of the stuff in the intro I hadn't seen because I watched a lot of it like on VHS, and it was like the different storylines put together, and I saw a lot of the later stuff, like the stuff with the goblins and him fucking fighting Daredevil. I
thought it was weird that they gave Morbius blue hair in the show. Such an odd choice.
They did a lot of weird changes to him. That was in season 2, pretty sure, that storyline. That was like
And why is half of Venom's body always highlighted in blue and the other half is highlighted in orange? I never understood that.
Because it's the 90s. For some reason. Why is Madam Web being so, like, really outwardly creepy? What is she trying to prove to him? Like,
she's always kind of outwardly creepy.
I'm really scared.
So, Bill, this isn't really Spider-Man related, but it is Marvel related, and I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it yet. And the people at home might be interested to hear. What did you think of that new Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer that just dropped? Literally days after half of our heroes died.
I don't know if I've seen the new one, to be honest.
Oh, you haven't watched it yet?
Well, give me a hint of what's in it. Oh, wait, maybe I did see it.
They revealed the villain. It's
is this
like
the one where he, like, drags the truck?
Yeah, he uses
and there's also the bit at the end where Bill Foster, who's Lawrence Fishburne, is like, I got to 45 feet, and then Scott Lang is like, I got to 65. And then she's like, are you guys done comparing sizes? And I was like, all right. I get it.
Yeah.
We all know what a penis is.
I'm about it. I'm about this movie.
It looks good. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it looks way more interesting than the first one was. I liked the first one. I had no problem with the first one. It was a fun Marvel movie. But that was my thought at the time, was this is just it's another origin movie from them. And it doesn't necessarily rise above the expectations of that. It just kind of meets them.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about this show. So they've basically... What the Beyonder just did is he goes, hey, Spider-Man, you see all these nice, peaceful aliens? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, imagine if I threw all of your most hated enemies onto this planet and let them take over. And Spider-Man was like, why would you do that? He's like, I just did it, and now they've been there for a year. And he's like, why? And now he's like, I want you to go there with a bunch of Earth superheroes and stop them. He's like,
I just realized this is basically... I just realized this is basically the premise of that Batman Ninja movie. Except in that it's supervillains getting teleported to the past. But like they become warlords and set up their own territories, and they're like at war with each other.
So it's No Man's Land.
Yeah, essentially.
Great. Who decides to get Batman? Like, is there some cosmic entity in that? That's like, hey, Batman, we really need your help because we could get like the whole Justice League, but not just you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what causes the time travel in that. I haven't seen it yet.
Or why they don't just get the whole Justice League to go fight each villain at the same time, as opposed to having Batman do it one at a time.
Yeah.
At least in like the Arkham games, it's always like spur of the moment. So theoretically, the Justice League is either busy or Batman's not going to call them, so they would have to show up on their own.
See, I like this premise more as an idea for like another Batman game than as a movie. Like that would be cool. Run around in feudal Japan as Batman.
Well, I feel like I feel like they should do an anthology game where it's like you do a bunch of different like stories, but it's Batman of different, like, you just do I mean, you can almost do it as, I feel like I've just created Assassin's Creed again. Basically, because well, no, but it would be the same gameplay, except you wouldn't necessarily be killing people, depending on the era.
You could have modern Batman. You could have Batman Beyond. You could have campy '60s Batman.
Yeah, all right. Well, that would be better. You wouldn't do it as like, oh, here's a feudal era Batman. Here's a fucking Egyptian Batman, because then that's just Assassin's Creed. But you could do.
Here's actual Dark Knight.
Well, you would have to do it with different versions of Batman. So you could do like a Dark Knight Returns level. That would be fun. I mean, you wouldn't do it as like a story-based game. You would do it as like a beat-em-up, I feel. That would be really fun.
I think the closest thing to that Assassin's Creed thing would be, I feel like you'd have to throw in a Gotham by Gaslight level. You know,
we should be
people like that.
We should be talking about this show. So
we should.
We're looking, and this is a good part too because he's picking his team. What do you think of his choices? Now he has the whole Marvel universe. He realistically could pick anybody. Like they could have put anybody in. He talks about bringing in the Hulk, which I feel was a mistake for him to not bring in the Hulk.
Yeah, he really should have brought in the Hulk. That's
now at the same time. I mean, the
Hulk,
a
bit volatile.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Much of a team player.
And at this now, if we're gonna take it as like the cartoon Hulk, he at this point he would have been in like. He would have been dealing with multiple colors of Hulks and shit. Like, he probably would have been he would have been like another lizard.
Okay, so we've got the entire Fantastic Four.
Definitely smart, because they're good at this space stuff. That's definitely a good call.
True. They have a diverse power set. You have Reed Richards, who's one of the smartest people in the Marvel Universe. Solid choice.
And if any Skrulls show up, they're going to be ready.
You bring in Iron Man, that's good for similar reasons.
Yeah, I feel like he's questionable, to be honest. I love Iron Man. He's of the MCU heroes, he's always been my favorite. But at the same time, he's really limited by his armor. You know, if it runs out of power, he's fucked. Now, usually that's not an issue for him. Like, he's got his arc reactor. He's a walking power supply. And in Infinity War, he's got that awesome nano suit that's basically just like a walking forge. Which is, it's so cool. What was I saying, though? I feel like he's questionable. Do you agree? Especially not giving him any prep time. He's really effective given prep time. But Spider-Man, thank God he was in his armor, right? Like, imagine if Tony Stark hadn't... What was he doing? Was he fighting the Mandarin? Was he, taking a shit in the suit? Like, imagine Spider-Man grabs him and somebody's like, what's that smell? And Iron Man's like, well, you know what? I didn't get any warning.
He gets Tony Stark, and he was just, like, taking a shower. So he just shows up, no armor, no anything.
Spider-Man's like, Tony, you don't have a suit on you? He's like, I was in the fucking suit. You want me to have one up my ass? And he's like, you haven't come up with that yet? And he's like, listen, I tried. I couldn't do it.
I'm going to be honest, Tony, I thought you were a robot.
To be honest, I didn't know you were a real boy.
No, there was a man in there.
Well, you know what? To be honest, Spider-Man doesn't know that Tony Stark is Iron Man. So you know what? He would have no idea.
Now, Captain America, that's always a solid
remember,
choice.
In Secret War, that actually, you know what? In the comics, they did that way better. It was actually really clever. Because when they brought Iron Man in, it turned out to not be Tony Stark. It was Rhodey who was in the armor. And he was like testing it out. But whoever snatched him had no idea. Had no idea that Tony Stark was Iron Man, and also had no idea that there was somebody in there that wasn't Iron Man. I mean, Rhodey was Iron Man at that period, but I don't know if it was before or after Secret Wars. I'm pretty sure it was after. Tony Stark got his back fucking broken, Batman style, and he was like in bed, and he was also drunk a lot. So.
I do wonder why out of the entire X-Men cast, his first choice was Storm.
Man, Reed Richards all the Fantastic Four look terrible. Those suits are terrible. The Thing looks terrible.
Yeah. Mr. Fantastic's, the 4 on his chest was like lopsided a second ago.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. That was weird. The Thing, though, look at the Thing. They've really fucked up the design. It's like, all right, Iron Man, chill out. How come they don't? I mean, all right, I like how Marvel this is. Like, they always have to fight, but it feels like they should all know each other at this point. Like, Spider-Man's world famous. Like, he really should. They really shouldn't be like. I mean, at the same time, though, this is always what happens. Everybody always assumes the worst.
I think the Thing looks oddly enough like the Thing from those like Tim Story Fantastic Four
Yeah,
movies.
I think that's the issue, which is
Like
fine in live action.
like they tried too hard to give him like realistic like facial features and shit.
Hmm.
Oddly enough, the best version of the Thing is Korg. Uh,
Yeah, because the one in Fan Four Stick sucks. Um, although the face is the comic book version mostly, so that wasn't the problem. The thing is, like, he's such an iconic character and such a great character. They've really the Tim Story thing is like a good version of the character, like, you know, like writing wise, but certainly
well, I think
the suit leaves a little to be desired.
that's one thing that
I almost
that
feel like
first,
you should do the Thing practically. I don't know, not now. Now you definitely do him CGI, but
that's one thing that the first Tim Story Fantastic Four movie got right was you know, the character of the four individual members of the team. Now, I mean, they fucked up Doctor Doom.
he's
But,
really
like,
yeah. I feel like
but Ben
outside of
Grimm,
the MCU, we're never gonna get a good Doctor Doom.
but Ben Grimm in that movie feels like Ben Grimm. Johnny Storm feels like Johnny Storm. Like everybody feels like who they're supposed to be. I think it would be really cool if Latveria was just Sokovia put back together with the dictator.
Yeah, I mean, or they could just have it be a country that's been fucking locked up for 20 years, and then all of a sudden,
Then it's a little Wakanda-y.
yeah,
It's
but
like evil. It's like evil Wakanda.
yeah, but it might not be that. Oh, it's because they're super advanced. It might be because Doctor Doom's parents were in charge, and now he's in charge, and things are different.
There's also too much of that in Marvel as it is. Like secret society suddenly opens up to the world.
That's true.
You've got Wakanda. You've got
Yeah,
Atlantis.
you know what? You're right. I guess you do it like he's, you know, he just kind of picks up the pieces from some cataclysmic event from the past. That makes sense. It should be Sokovia.
The Inhumans, the Eternals, the Morlocks. There's so many secret societies in Marvel. It's great. The Mole Man's under subterranean kingdom. Like there's just so many.
What's up with the bands on the Fantastic Four suits?
The band?
The bands, like there's these weird white bands. Do you see them?
Oh yeah, I don't know.
It's almost like they've been to like the hospital recently, and you know they're.
Is this a version from the comics that I'm just not familiar with? Like,
not that I'm familiar with.
Because everyone else, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Storm, they're all based on specific versions from the comics.
That Iron Man suit is, I'm mixed on it. I hate the like gray patches. That's terrible. That's terrible, Muriel.
I gotta wonder why, out of all the entire X-Men cast, his first choice was to bring in Storm. Not that her powers aren't useful.
He justifies it as she has like the powers of a god, and that'll be useful against the Beyonder.
I guess, but I feel like I would have brought in, I don't know, a telepath or I don't know.
You don't want Jean Grey. That's like bringing in the Hulk.
A Wolverine, bring in a Wolverine just because he's cool.
That's also like bringing in the Hulk.
But I like the Hulk.
I also like the Hulk, but I don't know if he's a smart choice for this kind of combat.
He should have just brought in Ghost Rider and had him pin and stare everyone on the fucking planet.
See, this is not the Tournament of Power. We're not just throwing these people into a big fighting arena. We're throwing them onto a planet where the goal was to save lives. You know? So you don't really... I'm not saying the Hulk doesn't save lives. He does, but you know, you kind of got a lot of... You throw him in, you let him do his own thing.
See, that's who we need in the MCU right now. Can you imagine Ghost Rider doing the pin and stare to Thanos post-Infinity War?
I mean, I feel like Ghost Rider is one of the only characters who could do anything to Thanos after he gets the gauntlet. I mean, I'm sure Thanos would have control over the fucking cosmic deity that gave Ghost Rider his powers, but even still...
Mephisto. That's an interesting...
Have they established that in MCU? Because I know that they did Johnny Blaze in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I know that they had him show up.
Well, he showed up for like a split second in Robbie Reyes' like flashback because the backstory for Robbie Reyes is different. He basically like got the spirit of vengeance from Johnny Blaze instead of what it is in the comics where he's like possessed by the soul of a Satanist who died. It's different.
Why do they always feel the need to fuck up Ghost Rider's origin? It's so
It's
simple. Why do they always feel the need to overcomplicate it with, like, oh, it's different demons and stuff? Like, I just
I don't know.
I mean, you can make it different demons. That's fine.
Fucking Mephisto put Zarathos in people. That's all you need. That's two
really?
demons.
It's like, you know what,
Two
though?
demons.
But then they really ruined it by making the Danny Ketch one the iconic Ghost Rider, because that's, you know, it's such a different version with that, though. Because he's not the boo ha 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 burn you to the ground. It's not like that. He's a noble, like, demon, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He's a more punish you for your sins kind of guy.
Why is Madam Web, like, why is she so tight with the Beyonder? Like, why is that a thing?
They fucked, for sure. But in reality, she's there basically kind of like subtly going, hey, leave my boy alone. Just let him go home. Although I think at the end of the day, she also knows that this is his only path to getting Mary Jane back. Like, the Beyonder is the only being that can make that happen, I think is the idea. But they never got to do that. That was the intention in the next season. They would have Spider-Man bouncing around time and space trying to get Mary Jane back.
Wait, did he just... Wait, Lizard's on his side now?
So, one of them somehow was... I'm pretty sure that it was explained that whatever technique Reed Richards... I'm pretty sure the Hulk was mentioned, if I remember correctly. And it was some technique that, you know, it's used to, like, soothe both sides of the brain to,
all right,
to get
that
them
was
to work
the
together.
end.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure there was a
episode.
Hulk reference to explain that. But yeah, no, the Lizard he's got the mind of Kurt Connors now.
Okay, good. Anyway, so that was the end of the first episode of the Spider-Man Secret Wars trilogy.
Yes. So jump to the next episode, episode 10, chapter 2, The Gauntlet of the Red Skull, who's also in Infinity War with a very different role. He never got to have no gauntlet.
No. He couldn't even have the fucking Soul Stone.
No, he never got no stone. Well, he had one stone for a while, but he didn't know it was a stone at the time. He just thought it was a powerful box.
I like how Anthony and Joe Russo were like, we can't give you Lady Death, but we can give you a skull-faced person in a hood.
Yes. Based on with a character we've already seen. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like how that's a double-edged reference. That's awesome. I mean, maybe they didn't intend that. Although they probably did, given the way they shot it. Anyway, let's press play for this episode in a 3, a 2, a 1, a play. Previously on Spider-Man. Hey, Spider-Man, fight bad guys. No, I won't! Well, you're gonna do it anyway. Fuck!
Previously on Spider-Man, some far-out shit happened.
Previously on Spider-Man, we smoked too much weed, guys. Oh no, we've gone too far. Alright, so if you're gonna... let's say you're gonna do this. You're gonna fight a bunch of Marvel bad guys. Let's say it's the same bad guys, just for simplicity's sake, on a planet. And you need a bunch of Marvel heroes to help you out. And let's say to make it more interesting, you can also pick Marvel villains if you want to bring in to help you out, if you think you can control them. So... and let's say it's the same number, so 7. So pick 7 Marvel heroes to fight this battle for you. Who do you pick? And that's not including you. You're not a Marvel hero in this scenario.
Okay, so first of all, I'm bringing in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, definitely Doctor Strange.
There's no fucking reason Peter didn't bring in Doctor Strange.
Because he's met him. He's met him.
Yeah, he's met him in previous episodes of this very show. So
that was
Doctor
stupid
Strange,
on his part, without a doubt.
Definitely. I do agree with bringing in Captain America. I think Captain America is always good to have on your team.
He's the ultimate strategist.
He can rally the troops, and plus Red Skull's in this scenario, and he knows how to handle Red Skull.
He knows how to fuck up the Red Skull real good. That's what he's good at.
But you know what? I'm bringing in more heavy hitters. I am bringing in the Hulk. I know it's kind of a wild card, but you know what?
It depends on the Hulk. Is this an Avengers Bruce Banner who fights with the Avengers regularly and knows how to control it? Is this a Hulk who's more intelligent and is usually able to be reasoned with?
We were able to give Kurt Connors control of the Lizard, so I'm going to say that we could do the same thing with Hulk. Why not?
You have to assume that Bruce Banner, when you bring him in, he's going to... But what if Bruce Banner is in one of those like moments in his life where he's like in a bad villainous state? All right, you know what? Since I'm coming up with since I'm the Beyonder in this scenario, I'll describe the Hulk for you. It's a status quo Hulk. He's Bruce Banner on the run. When he gets angry, he turns into the Hulk. But he's had it for a long time. So all of the splitting apart and controlling it, that's in his past. So he could bring it out if properly motivated. So that's 2. You've got 5 more.
I've done 3 so far. I brought in Hulk, I brought in Cap, and I brought in
and Doctor Strange. My bad, I forgot about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, so I have 4 more.
Would you bring in Morbius, the living vampire? Oh no, they don't bring in Morbius. They bring in Black Cat.
I don't remember what heroes Spider-Man had met at this point in the show, so I'm not going to go by that. I'm just going to choose whoever I want.
No, I said I said you could even pick villains if you want. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thor. You can bring in Thor. I'm bringing in heavy hitters here. I'm not pulling Spider-Man's bullshit. I'm bringing in the heaviest hitters I can think of. You bring in Thor. You bring in the Silver Surfer. Love me the Silver Surfer.
All right. So I'll give you Silver Surfer, who's traveling the universe, righting his past wrongs. Okay.
Silver Surfer, power cosmic, incredible speed.
Well, he's
on his
got
board.
part of it now. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have the level that he had when he was peak Galactus Silver Surfer.
All right, so that's 5. I get 2 more. I've already assembled quite the.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna fuck up the villains of this show.
Definitely.
However, you've also brought in a lot of characters with a lot of emotional baggage. Like especially the Silver Surfer. Like he's a heavy hitter who's also really reluctant to do fucking anything, especially after he stops working for Galactus.
We'll give him some fucking drugs and get him to do what we need.
We'll get him drunk. We'll get him. I'll let him borrow his surfboard.
We'll get him real drunk. All right. So
why did Spider-Man get an extra one? Why was he able to fucking steal Black Cat?
I don't know. Okay.
Oh, by the way, she was off with Blade and Morbius because she and Morbius were boning. And Morbius was like, I'm going to go fight vampires with Blade because that's all I'm good for now. And she was like, I'll do it too. And Blade was like, fuck. God damn. Yeah, that's right.
And they were chasing Blade's mom right there. So
yes. Anyway, go ahead. You have 2 more.
Yeah, I was talking about him earlier. I think it's a good idea. Bring in fucking Ghost Rider. Let him do some penance stairs.
Which Ghost Rider? I'll let you pick.
I'll bring in noble, punishing the wicked Danny Ketch Ghost Rider because he would be the easiest to convince to go along with this.
You're gonna go with Noble Kale. Okay.
Yes, he'll be the easiest to convince to go along with this. Okay, so 7. I need 1 more. I think I've already won the game, but who's another good one?
If you want to be interesting, you can bring in Venom just for the sake of variety, because I said you could do villains.
I mean, I could go fucking crazy and bring in some abstract.
You could bring in Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet if you really wanted to.
I can bring in some abstract cosmic entity like fucking the Living Tribunal is on my team.
But then they're also not going to do anything, you know? Like I told you can't force them to do anything. You have to convince them. You know, you're leading them. You're not controlling them. This isn't Ready Player One.
Well, if I brought in Eternity, I could convince Eternity to help me because he's very paranoid in the comics about people supplanting him. That's like why he goes to the Living Tribunal and it's like, hey, turn off the Infinity Gems, please. So like I could be like, hey, this Beyonder guy's gonna fuck your shit up, and he would be like, yeah, totally, dude, and then he would help me.
So there you go. So you're gonna bring in Eternity?
No. I'm gonna go.
Because you couldn't control him, he might wipe you out. Just because he doesn't want he might view you as a threat for fucking selecting him out of fucking nothing.
That's true.
I'm sorry for bringing you to this weird space war. That's over nothing. Like this didn't have to happen at all, and it's partially my fault because I'm just so darn fucking heroic. I love this show.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll make Reed Richards my 7th choice because his mind would come in handy.
I never pick him for anything because my Fantastic Four is Ultimate Fantastic Four. That's the Fantastic Four I'm the most familiar with and the one I grew up with. and he went really bad in that.
Well, I'm talking about good old 616
Yeah, I know.
Reed
I
Richards.
like him too. It was really fun when they met, and Reed Richards was like, "What? Like, what's wrong with you?" Like, because Reed Richards is fucked up.
He was always a paragon of virtue until they put him into that Illuminati bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, 616 Reed Richards has done terrible things too, but he's always come back from it. Ultimate Reed Richards was like, "Nah, I'm gonna become a supervillain and take over the negative zone." That's what Ultimate Reed Richards did.
Oh shit, you said I could use villains and I didn't use any villains. I could have brought in fucking...
I told you to bring in Venom. Nah, he's a terrible idea. That's like bringing the Hulk in without any moral compass.
It's not as bad as bringing in Carnage.
No, but... They would have been good villains for this. I don't know. I mean, I guess because Eddie Brock and Cletus Cassidy's off, God knows. He definitely could have brought in Carnage, because Carnage was sent off to some, like, universe somewhere.
That's right. He plays a part in the final 2 episodes of this series when he becomes.
Well, that's just the symbiote.
He becomes Spider
Cletus
Carnage.
Cassidy's dead. I guess Cletus Cassidy's dead.
Oh, yeah.
They don't explain it. I don't think.
I couldn't have brought in Doctor Doom. He's one of the people we're fighting in this. Could have brought in Kang the Conqueror. That's a fun one.
I think the writing on the different heroes in this is. It's kind of generic. I feel like the guys who are writing this only know Spider-Man, and their knowledge of the other Marvel heroes is really spacious at best.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because whenever they bring them in... I mean, they did Dormammu with Doctor Strange, so okay, they did that. But they didn't really introduce a whole lot of the elements of Dormammu, you know? You know what? They did Dormammu twice, though. That was weird. Yeah, because they did an episode early on where Mary Jane was, like, seduced into joining a cult because she was convinced that her fucking dad was part of the cult. And it's a storyline from the comics, too. And I'm pretty sure it was a Doctor Strange crossover as well.
I like how everyone in the 90s had to have armor. Why does Doc Ock need armor?
Because he's fighting Space Wars. Oh, they brought fucking Smythe. All right, so you know what, D?
Of all the people, Smythe.
All right, so you know what, D? I'm going to assemble a team of villains to fight your heroes. Then I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna make this fun for me. All right. So I'm just gonna limit it to Marvel villains, obviously, and I'm gonna include heroes gone bad who have traditionally done that. So first off, I'm gonna pick Jean Grey Phoenix. Right off the bat, because I don't need to worry about controlling them. I'm just gonna let them do whatever. So I'm gonna pick Jean Grey Phoenix. I'm going to pick.
That's definitely your wild card. I brought in the Hulk. You brought in Jean Grey Phoenix.
But like I said, I don't have to control mine. I just have to let them kill yours. That's my only goal.
It's another one of those scenarios.
But
she
might turn on me though and be like, "Fuck you!" And I'll be like, "Oh shit."
She probably would. You'll probably end up like Patrick Stewart.
Right. That's fine. I mean, that doesn't matter though. Once they're there, I've achieved my goal. I mean,
I feel like the combined powers of Thor, Doctor Strange, and Silver Surfer could probably take her though.
No, without a doubt. That's why I have I'm throwing in fucking. Nah, I can't do Thanos. I can't trust Thanos. Like he's gonna
never trust Thanos.
He's gonna take over. He's also way too smart for me. Like I'll throw in smart people to this. Like I'll throw in not Red Skull. Red Skull's too. Red Skull doesn't bring enough in.
Too much of a Nazi.
Not even that. He just doesn't bring enough in. I'm gonna pick Magneto for sure though. He's a wild card too though. But I feel like if I have him there, Jean Grey is gonna do what he wants, at least initially.
I didn't pick anybody on my team that's like super reliant on metal.
Did I? Any X-Men? I don't think.
I thought about throwing Wolverine in there, and now I'm glad I did.
And I convinced you not to because he's like the Hulk. Abomination. I'll definitely throw a proper prime Emil Blonsky locked up in a fucking cell.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for me because that'll convince my Hulk to.
Yeah, Hulk will fight the Abomination.
I just realized I assembled most of like the classic Defenders are on my team.
Yeah,
Silver Surfer, Doctor Strange, Hulk.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm
just missing Namor. You could throw Namor in your side.
I'll throw a Mordo though. I'll definitely throw Mordo in there.
Mordo. Yes.
Because what he'll do.
White Mordo or Black Mordo?
Well, it's not the MCU, so it's comic book Mordo. So what do I have? I have Mordo, Phoenix, Magneto, and Abomination. Definitely Doctor Doom. I mean, Doctor Doom is like, your proto-Marvel villain, so definitely Doctor Doom.
Gotta have a Doctor Doom in
and
there.
I'm gonna throw another wild card in there, and you might not see him as a wild card. I'm gonna throw Green Goblin in there, and I'm gonna throw.
No, that's definitely a wild card. I can see that.
He will suddenly, out of nowhere, he'll fucking take over, and it'll be great, and I can't wait.
Yeah, there's a what-if story that I really want to read where Green Goblin gets the Infinity Gauntlet, and that's got to be just crazy.
Oh, wow. Because, he would just do everything Norman Osborn ever wanted to do but didn't think he could.
Yeah.
It would be horrible. But, like, it would be like a Norman Osborn wishing on a genie. Like, it would be like, oh, your wife is alive, but, like, she's, like, a horrible bitch.
Wait. Is my team the 7 I picked plus Spider-Man? Is Spider-Man still in play?
No, I told you it was not. You were replacing Spider-Man.
Oh, I am Spider-Man.
Yeah. No, you're not Spider-Man.
Well, I'm not Spider-Man.
You don't have Spider-Man's powers.
For all intents and purposes, I'm fulfilling the role of Spider-Man.
Yes, exactly. You are the one who Madam Web picked. Which is, I don't know why, but... and I don't know why they picked me to pick the villains.
Yeah, why are you the Beyonder? How are you even getting?
I feel like the Beyonder picked him. I feel like this is more of a test of you and I than it is of any kind of good and evil, because it's like because you're the one who's usually more of like the fucking pessimist and everything. So I would assume you to be the one to have like a better tack on the villains, and I would have a better tack on how to stop them because I'm more into those guys. But
yeah. Because if I had been,
but I feel like this is more interesting because your read on why you picked your heroes it was more dependent on like power and which one will do what I want, and I was just like, which ones can I trust and which ones can I not trust to not trust.
How many have you done so far?
I've done 5. I think Green Goblin, Mordo, Doctor Doom, Magneto, Phoenix. Oh, and Abominations. That's 6. So I need one more.
Oh yeah, that's 6. You only get one more.
Yeah, I want to pick it. I want to pick no, he's too. I want a powerhouse in there. This is gonna be real fucking like big. I'm gonna throw Surtur in there. Yeah.
Surtur.
I'm throwing Surtur on that. I'm throwing Surtur in there.
Fucking Ragnarok Surtur? Fucking...
Not from the movies, no, like comic book Surtur.
Eternal Flame Surtur?
Well, because then all of my villains would first have to... Their goal would be to, like, subdue him. And get him to do what they want. And I feel like once they've done that, your heroes can't do shit.
But would they even
the combined might of... Even if they don't... Like, I mean, Surtur could decide to destroy the whole planet. And I would still win.
He could, conceivably.
He wouldn't, though. That's the thing.
Here's the problem.
He might not do anything.
Here's the problem. The people you have picked are not going to fucking work together.
No, I don't want them to. I want them to be them. Because
Doctor Doom will pretend to work with them for a while, but he'll inevitably...
But that's what'll be good. Is initially they will start to, and it'll make things so much worse for you guys.
Inevitably they'll stab each other. Inevitably Doctor Doom will stab whoever he's pretending to work with in the back, and that will inevitably cause him to shoot himself in the foot, because that's what Doctor Doom.
But we're all just waiting for Green Goblin to suddenly reveal that he's had a plan the whole time to take over. And he suddenly has, like, he's given everybody the Oz, and everybody's gonna suddenly become Green Goblins. Something like that.
I don't know. I feel like everything on...
The Abomination will just be trying to kill everyone.
I feel like my team has an answer for everything on your team, though. You've got the Phoenix. I, too, have the Power Cosmic. You have Mordo. I have Doctor Strange. You have the mind of Doctor Doom. I have the slightly better mind of Reed Richards.
Oh, you did pick Reed Richards. Oh, I shouldn't have picked Doctor Doom then. Damn it, that was a mistake. No, but but I've got Surtur. Oh, you've got Thor.
I also have Ghost Rider, who kind of specializes in big, scary demons. Fire. And Doctor Strange, who's also good for those things.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Magneto is my other heavy hitter, though. He's going to do a lot of damage.
He is, and if I had picked like Wolverine or Iron Man, that would have been an insta-kill on your part. But I didn't pick either of them.
I feel like Reed Richards is going to have a really hard time with Magneto because philosophically they have issues with each other. Like really severe ones. So they're going to start talking, and then that's going to make things bad for your side because then Reed Richards is going to be distracted. This is also different than the scenario in the comics, we should say.
Oh, I should also mention that all this weather shit that Storm's doing, Thor can do.
This... Oh, yeah. Well, not as much. I don't know if he can cause, like, I mean, can she cause, like, an earthquake? I mean, that's not weather, though.
Yeah, no.
That's
I don't know
seismic
about
activity.
That. But lightning and whirlwinds are the two big ones that they both use a lot, so...
Can Thor cause a tsunami? Because she must be able to. No, I don't know if that's weather, either. Well, I guess it depends on the kind of weather. I don't know.
I suppose she could cause a hurricane, but I'm pretty sure he could as well if he wanted to.
I don't, yeah. But I don't know if he would specifically. I guess it would be a consequence of, like, a massive lightning storm. Like, when he shows up in Infinity War, that was pretty, kind of hurricane of lightning. That was pretty cool. It didn't look... The CGI in that was a little creaky, I thought, did you think? When he showed up in Infinity War with the axe?
You know what I should have done for my team?
What?
It would have just destroyed the entire universe. But just pick 7 different characters who have had the Infinity Gauntlet before at the period from their timeline when they had the Infinity Gauntlet.
All right, now...
So just fucking Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, Nebula with the Infinity Gauntlet, Warlock with the Infinity Gauntlet, the Magus with the Infinity Gauntlet, and they just, like... try to out-god each other and just tear the universe asunder.
Oh, but yeah, like I was trying to say before, the scenario in the comics is very different from this show.
Yeah.
The Beyonder picks his own roster, and I don't think Madam Web is involved.
No, I don't think Madam Web was introduced yet.
No. Because Infinity War was... I'm sorry. Secret Wars was early 80s. And that Spider-Man stuff was the 90s. Late 80s.
And Secret Wars, of course, was when Spider-Man...
Madam Web was also killed by the Juggernaut at one point. Oh, I should have thrown the Juggernaut in there. And I would have left out the Abomination. I would have... Because I feel like the Juggernaut is probably stronger.
Oh, the Juggernaut's definitely stronger. He gets his powers from Sidorak, who's one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, well, I always forget that 616 Juggernaut is not a mutant. Well, isn't he also a mutant? Isn't he a mutant and he also has that
he was like a regular dude who found the Jewel of Sidorak and got powers from it.
Oh, okay. But he is true, but he is Professor X's brother, though.
Yeah, and he, like, hated him. And, like, finally he had powers of his own that he could use against him.
Okay, that's actually more interesting.
Yeah.
But
But I also have Doctor Strange
in the
on my...
Ultimate Universe, he's a mutant, obviously.
But I also have Doctor Strange on my side, who has the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, another Sidorak-powered weapon. So it would be interesting to see those two things go up against each other. I'm sure that's probably happened.
Oh, they fought before, without a doubt.
Yeah, but has he ever tried to use the Crimson Bands of Sidorak on Abomination's Sidorak powers? Like, has that...
You mean Juggernaut, not Abomination. I don't know.
Did I say Abomination?
Yeah, you did.
Fuck.
Indeed.
Which, by the way, he used those in Infinity War, and it made me very happy.
I remember that because it was, a lot of his spells look identical, and then occasionally he does one that looks different, and you're like, oh, and that's what those are the ones that I like.
Yeah.
I mean, everything they did with him in Infinity War was a million times better than what they did with him in his solo movie, though. So.
And that spell that he used in New York to clear all that dust and debris, that has a name.
When he winks at Iron Man? Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, that has a name in the comics too, I'm pretty sure, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah. It's a good movie, I think. Alrighty then. So we're on the last episode. We're in the last stretch, boys. So let's press play on this one hang on. Just gotta fix my audio. Whoop. In 3, 2, 1, play. So what were we saying previously on Spooderman?
Yeah, it's the only problem with Peter Parker disintegrating into ash is that we never got to find out if he had spider blood, radioactive spider blood.
Yeah, we never figured out, and I would have eventually liked to have. I mean, I know that we never need to see a Spider-Man origin on film again, But I still kind of want to know what happened. You know, like what exactly the details were. Don't you?
Yeah, he's alluded to having had an Uncle Ben who's died because he talks in Homecoming.
We know that pretty much he went through the usual bullshit. I mean, they explained in the setup for for Civil War when that came out that the reason why they're living in this shitty apartment is because of the fallout of what happened with Uncle Ben when they were living in a house in Forest Hills. You know?
Yeah, I wonder who Uncle Ben was.
I wonder who they sold the house to. I wonder if it was.
They should probably
same...
do a flashback at some point, just so we can have an MCU version of Uncle Ben to show up somewhere.
It really better be Joe Pesci. No.
Oh God! Listen, kid. With great power comes great responsibility.
Your aunt's clock is ticking.
With your new powers, we can recreate the Sticky Bandits.
I feel like that's not even a bad casting choice. I feel like that could totally work.
He would never do it though.
I don't know. I feel like
Joe Pesci is like super picky about like roles. That's why he hasn't acted in forever. Like Louis C.K. approached him about a project, and he read the script and he's like, "That I think it's shit," and then he didn't do it.
Awesome. Yeah, he wouldn't do it.
He's like Rick Moranis in that way.
Interesting.
I don't know what Rick Moranis thinks he's off doing that's so important.
Raising his kids?
Instead of being Hank Pym. God damn it.
Like I said, raising his kids.
That would have been perfect casting. Rick Moranis is Hank Pym.
No.
It's also a Disney franchise.
He's not going to punch a guy. He's not going to punch a guy just for fucking talking about his wife. Maybe I'm underestimating Rick Moranis.
He would, and it would be funny because it would be Rick fucking Moranis.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe.
And
that
they
would have been interesting with the aging.
They would have de-aged
CGI.
him. They would have de-aged him, so it would have been like
that would have been really weird.
Little Shop of Horrors, Rick Moranis.
That would have been really weird. Is that a big spider robot? Who built that?
So Spider-Man got to get Lizard on his side. I feel like one of your villains has to turn to my side.
What? Unfair. Okay. Yeah. Well, he was one of the 7. I guess you're right. You can. All right. I'll grant you, given that Magneto in the comics turned against the other villains, and he joined up with the other X-Men, and they joined up as a team, and later on he joined the Avengers and everybody else. So yeah. Okay. I'll give you Magneto. But you don't have any X-Men on your team. I can't give you Magneto. That would make no sense.
No,
if you had X-Men on your team, it would make sense.
Not a goddamn one.
That was your mistake. You would have had Magneto. All right then.
That's probably how Doctor Doom would bite it. He would betray Magneto, and then Magneto would crush him.
I'll grant you that. I'm not giving you Doctor Doom. That would make no sense. Doctor Doom would never. I mean, I guess Doctor Doom has worked with Reed Richards.
That's what's so OP about Magneto. Anybody who's wearing a fucking belt buckle, he can...
Oh, Doctor Doom is not going to be affected by Magneto. You know that metal's not magnetic.
It doesn't matter. In the comics, it's all fucking magnetic.
True.
You think all that shit that Magneto's throwing around in the comics is all, like, real-world magnetic?
No, that's true. And I'm pretty sure he can magnetize stuff, too.
I don't know if you know this, but adamantium's not real.
Really?
Yeah, neither is vibranium or unobtainium. It's very sad.
Wow. Unobtainium's real.
Yeah, that's right. There is something called unobtainium, isn't there?
Dylan. Fucking knowledge and shit.
But is it obtainable? Because if not, then that's false advertising.
It doesn't seem like it's very...
And that is... I will not stand for false advertising. Why is the 4 so... Like, why does it keep turning to the side in different shots?
Oh, I haven't given you a villain. I'll give you... Who else do I have? Oh, I'll give you Jean Grey. She loses her phoenixness and goes good. There you go. You have Jean Grey.
All right, cool. So that reduces your heavy hitters to Surtur.
Oh, wow. What a downgrade. A fucking demon. A god who kills other gods.
I don't know if he counts as a god.
He's like the equivalent of... He's like Satan times 10 in the Norse mythology.
Satan's not considered a god.
All right.
Theologically.
All right. Listen. Fucking Reverend McCandless. I didn't know that you had a fucking degree in theology. But listen, if he punched you, it would hurt. That's my only point.
I mean, sure.
That's my only point. Why are they going into their backstory? Oh, right, because this is a weird one. So, Doctor Doom. This is actually good, in the sense that Doctor Doom does something that Doctor Doom usually does, which is, he tricks them. He cures the Thing, and gives him a watch that makes him able to thing up again. And he basically does it in order to obtain power. I forget what the reason is. We'll find out.
It's Doctor Doom. It's always probably so. You know what? I'm gonna call it right now. He's trying to steal the Beyonder's powers. That's his
Something
fucking MO.
like that. Yeah, I think that's it.
He's always trying to steal.
Why does he need the Thing for that?
I don't know, but that's always what he's trying to fucking do. He did that to Odin in that video game. He did it to Galactus at one point. That's always his fucking... And then in the Rise of the Silver Surfer movie, he stole the Silver Surfer's powers.
This is pretty good. This is very comic book Marvel. Doctor Doom establishes a fucking paradise where he teaches these alien children American baseball.
So they've only been there a year at this point?
That's Doctor Doom, man. He probably established this in a week.
Red Skull had an army of blue Nazis and...
The Fantastic Three. The Terrific Three. Well, it's too close. In Batman Beyond, they did a parody of the Fantastic Four called the Terrific Trio.
They could always slap a sandwich back on Spider-Man's head and make him part of the crew.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Spider-Man was in the Fantastic Four proper not that long ago when Johnny Storm was missing.
That's the other...
Wow, he looks more ripped as Ben Grimm than he does as the Thing.
Yeah, really.
And more thing-like.
He's less, made of rocks. There's no reason to be afraid unless you're made of scissors. Okay, his brow ridge is freaking me out.
He looks terrible. Oh my god. What was wrong with his eyes?
I don't know.
It wouldn't be tyranny then, would it?
I'm not fond of Doctor Doom's accent in this.
No, this voice.
I am Doctor Doom, and I must...
They've really nailed his characterization and gotten a shitty guy to voice him, and his design's not great either. He sounds like fucking Dracula.
Welcome to my
castle. Blah! It's like he sounds like Adam Sandler's Dracula.
It is I, Count Doctor Doom.
I mean, actually, in the comics, Doctor Doom's related to Vlad the Impaler, so. All right.
Maybe that's what they were going for.
I mean, he's essentially modern day Vlad the Impaler.
And why does he even still wear the mask if he's all handsome now?
No, he got fixed up. Also in the comics, typically what the idea is, he's beautiful except for one little tiny scar.
Well, that's different.
I think they've retconned it since then, though, where the idea is that after that, he got a mask put on permanently, and it fucked up his face then. So, he fucked up his face in the process of, having the scar already. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what they did
That's
in those
what I
Tim
like.
Story. That's what they did in the Tim Story movies. It got stuck to his face because they you remember at the end of the first movie?
Yeah, because he wanted to look cool. It was weird.
At the end of the first movie, they heated him up and turned him into a statue
That movie
or something.
is such a fucking mishmash of okay stuff and terrible stuff.
I must keep them in the dungeon so that I can suck their blood.
Or they're fucking... the fucking entertainment and fucking interest in their fucking brains, because this is, you're fucking boring them to death.
Ben Grimm is such an idiot.
Ben Grimm is a fucking... What happened to him? Did he get fucking brain damage? This is not the Ben Grimm that I know and love from the comics.
Is he the Drax of this universe?
Oh, Drax would... Yeah, but he's like Drax if Drax didn't have a bunch of people around him to tell him what to do. But I guess that's usually Reed Richards. I love characters like that who they have like a little tiny number display on their giant suit of armor, like somehow that gives them information they require. Why does his base look like a big bug?
I don't know. Why does anything on this planet look the way it does?
That's a good question.
Why is the Beyonder so, bored all the time?
I like this. I love how Ben Grimm tells him, oh, yeah, this is where we fucking have all the power.
Hey, guy who's been my worst enemy for most of my life, here's the thing that brought us to this planet.
I'm really hoping that there's going to be... Oh, never mind. I can't believe that Ben Grimm fell for this. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, and it works.
I can't believe that a gun was...
What?
I can't believe that all it took was a gun for Dr. Doom to steal the Beyonder's
but it wasn't
power.
even a gun. It was like a weird power transponder. He literally just absorbed him, like Ghostbusters style, like Vince Clortho, like that big thing going inside of fucking Rick Moranis.
The Beyonder is one of the most OP characters in Marvel comics, by the way. So this is more impressive than when he stole Odin's powers in Ultimate Alliance.
The action in this show's really dragged out. Everybody has these really exaggerated moves. This is not a show with good fight scenes. We should say that.
No.
It's just fun. It's a fun representation of a really popular comic book storyline with a lot of characters. Have you ever read Secret Wars?
Ugh, not in a long fucking time.
I'm more familiar with the actual book version because there's a proper novelization, and yeah, it's good. There's a lot of it's like Infinity War where it's pretty much there's a couple of bad guys who are the main characters, and then we just jump to different heroes for a few seconds. It's good though. None of the X-Men trust, fucking the Avengers, obviously. Although Captain America's yo, Wolverine, we've worked together before. And fucking Wolverine's fuck you! Why doesn't Dr. Doom using his Beyonder powers?
I don't know. Why is Tony Stark not run out of ammo? He's been away from Earth for far too long.
Like I said, I think if he has an arc reactor, he can he's self-sustainable. I don't think those things run. I don't think an arc reactor requires electricity.
But they have a power life, don't they? Because the one that he built in the cave in the first movie is it can run something big for 15 minutes.
Yeah, but the ones he has now are not that. They're way better. They probably last for half a fucking millennia. They're the power cells in Ghostbusters. Remember that moment in Ghostbusters 2 where fucking Venkman's oh, I hope this stuff still works, and fucking Egon's well, it should. It has a half-life of 4,000 years.
They're called Harbulary batteries. No, they're not.
I feel like we should leave Ben Grimm on this planet to punish him. He fucked up bad.
That's a good question.
Yeah, let's sleep right here. Good idea, Cap. Right in the middle of a wasteland. With our costumes on. Like, Spider-Man hasn't taken... Look at... They literally just fucking plop down. Like, in the middle of this... Is he really gonna go web swinging in a wasteland?
Yeah, well, what's he hooking on to?
I guess... Rocks?
It's like in like old Spider-Man video games where the webs didn't actually have to connect to anything, and you would just like be swinging.
Like some of them, they made you aim towards buildings. Like I think Spider-Man 2 and 3 did that.
Yeah, well, the Ultimate Spider-Man game, which is basically just like it uses the same engine as like the Spider-Man 2 game, and yeah, if you're not around
there's a little reticle, right? Yeah, and if it's not lit up, you're not around anything.
Well, all it is like you just hit the button. But if you're not around anything, then it won't work because there's nothing for you to hook onto.
Right.
So you'll just kind of fall.
Thanos didn't create any monsters with the Infinity Gauntlet in Infinity War. That was disappointing. He made a bunch of birds at one point.
In the Infinity Gauntlet story, he creates a female version of himself.
What? I don't remember that.
Yeah, oh fuck, what was her name? Because like Lady Death wouldn't talk to him, and he was getting pissed off. So like he thought he was gonna make her jealous, and he created. Oh, her name is Taraxia, and she's just like basically just a female Thanos that's like in love with him.
That's just fucking really creepy. It's interesting, and it's totally something that Thanos would do. That is really disturbing, though.
But then at some point, after Nebula gets the gauntlet, she like teleports him and Taraxia out into like just the void of space to float around. And he didn't make Taraxia capable of breathing in space, so she dies.
Wow. It's wild.
Oh, and Taraxia like straight up murders Iron Man. Like, you don't see it, but it's implied that she beheaded him because she comes back to Thanos and she's like carrying the Iron Man helmet. And she's like, I have dispatched with the Metal Man.
Oh my god.
And he's just like, good job.
Awesome. But is Tony Stark like dead later?
Well, everything gets undone anyway. Once Nebula gets the Infinity Gauntlet, she turns the clock back 24 hours.
Oh, got it.
Now, what's really interesting about that story is that Thor isn't Thor. It was during that period of time where Eric Masterson.
It's fucking Thunderbreaker, whatever his name is.
Well, he becomes Thunderstrike later on, after Thor gets his powers back, and then Odin gives him his own weapon, and he becomes Thunderstrike. But for a period of time, he had Mjolnir, and he would just transform into Thor, but he wasn't Thor actually. But none of the other Avengers knew that for whatever reason, because I guess he didn't want them to know because they wouldn't trust him or whatever. So at one point during the battle, he gets separated from Mjolnir and turns back into Eric Masterson. But he can't breathe because Doctor Strange had cast a spell on them to allow them to breathe in space while they were fighting Thanos. But once he turns back into Eric Masterson, the spell cancels out, and so he starts choking to death. And then he has to get Mjolnir back in order to survive.
You're not going to punish the Thing?
Yeah, like
he was
up
bad. He's Peter Quill in Infinity War.
Yeah, I was about to say he Chris Pratted all over the place. I really hope nothing happens to Bryce Dallas Howard in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, where he's going to lose his shit.
I feel like that'll be her fault if like anything that happens, because she brought him there to that island.
He's like, "Why did you wear heels again?"
He was perfectly content to sit in his house and smoke weed and think about his raptor running around a fucking volcanic island. But
I like how you've just decided that Chris Pratt smokes weed in the Jurassic.
No, I've just decided that Owen Grady smokes weed
in the Jurassic World universe.
Yeah, well, you know what? You have no evidence to the contrary. So,
I mean, sure, I'm sure that Star-Lord probably has some sort of space drug of choice.
Oh, he's got a stash. I love when Thor starts taking their food. Oh, not anymore. All right. So Dylan, you've seen this before, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of fun, though, right?
It's a whole lot of craziness as well.
I loved this when I was a kid. This was the shit.
This is not one of my favorite batches of episodes.
No, going back to it now, I don't really watch this one. I actually kind of avoid it. I prefer the typical Spider-Maning.
Yeah.
And you know, if I'm gonna do if I'm in the mood for Spider-Man, I'm not reading Secret Wars. You know, I'm probably not watching I'm probably not reading a crossover story. If anything, I'll read one where he's like teaming up with the Hulk or Daredevil or something.
If you want Spider-Man, go watch Infinity War. Don't get too attached now.
Well, I even think like if you're in a Spider-Man mood though, you're not gonna watch Infinity War because he's like he's in it, but it's not a Spider-Man story.
Well, he's in it more than he was in Civil War, just not as much as he was in Homecoming.
No, sure, okay, fine. But I'm just saying, you would read like a Spider-Man comic then. And if you're in the mood to go back to the show, therefore you would you'd watch an earlier episode where it was just the kind of like status quo of, oh, the Kingpin, oh, Norman Osborn, oh, fucking Silvermane is a baby.
Silvermane.
The show was awesome.
You can always go back to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films for a little old school Spider-Man satisfaction.
Yeah. Like 1.5 of those is still good.
Particularly 2.
Yeah.
2 is, and any scene from the first one involving Willem Dafoe is usually a winner.
Yeah, they'll always be hard pressed to recast Green Goblin after him.
Yeah, nobody can out Dafoe the Dafoe, you know.
But they definitely should try. I mean, I'd definitely like to see him again.
I don't know if I want him, honestly, because
really?
they've done
Are you crazy?
Because how many times have we done the fucking Green Goblin at this point? He was in the first movie, and then Harry Osborn was the new Goblin in the third movie, and then they had another fucking Harry Osborn version in
but those
Amazing
were bad.
Spider-Man 2.
Those were bad. I want to see a good one.
Exactly. Well, sure, but give me Spider-Man villains I haven't gotten to see on the big screen before.
No, I mean, I'm not saying do them now. I'm saying down the line, definitely.
Give me Mysterio. Give me Kraven the Hunter. Give me... Fuck, I'll take Smythe. I don't care.
No, I want to see Smythe. I definitely want to see Spider-Man. I definitely want to see Spider-Man fight the Kingpin, though. They've been beating around that bush for years.
No, but they already burned Kingpin on the TV universe, and Kevin Feige and the guy who runs the TV side of things, they don't get along. So
that's not gonna always be the case, though. That guy'll fucking die or something.
Kevin Feige will see to it. And others, other Spider-Man villains that we haven't gotten to see, such as I almost said Rhino, but they did do him poorly.
I want to see him fight the Hulk more than I want to see him fight Spider-Man.
Rhino, that's like no contest, though.
He was always a better Hulk villain to me anyway, because he would always show up in because you'd think the Hulk would just thump him in 2 seconds, but he can't because the Rhino has that suit, and it gives him this momentary defensive advantage, so he can always get a few shots in and then do something.
Throw Boomerang in there.
The Marvel Boomerang? Yeah, he's great.
Fulfill what you set up in Homecoming and give me Donald Glover as the Prowler.
I would like to see the Prowler. He was always a better character, though, who becomes a good guy.
Who else is there? There's a ton more. Just stay the fuck away.
I want to see a proper Hobgoblin.
Stay the fuck away from the Jackal. That's an old wound. No.
There's another big one. Oh, I
know I said villains that haven't been done before. And
they set up Scorpion, so we know we'll probably get a Scorpion.
Right, that's true. I know I said villains who haven't been done before, and this is one that was actually done really well the first time around, but I'm always a sucker for some Doc Ock.
We could do with another Doc Ock, I think. Hell,
maybe a more comic accurate Doc Ock. Get a short fat guy.
Hydro Man. No, I'm kidding.
Danny DeVito is Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, I would love that. Oh my god. No, there's surely a bunch of characters you could do. Don't do the Lizard again. That was actually done okay. Don't do that again.
Yeah, because Spider-Man's got a pretty good rogues gallery. Again, he's Marvel's Batman. He's got the best rogues gallery. He's versatile.
He's also got a bunch of rogues though who get associated with other heroes. Like I said, Rhino's also a Hulk villain, and it's Kingpin's also a Daredevil villain. So's Electro.
I'm pretty sure Sandman has also been a Hulk villain on at least one occasion.
Yes, he has.
Hydro Man. That's one.
I said Hydro Man. No, you don't need to do Hydro Man.
You can do Hydro Man. Why not?
Morbius. We should
Morbius?
do. We should do a Morbius. Yeah.
Yes. Do a Spider-Man Morbius movie to set up the Midnight Suns movie that I have always wanted.
Anyway, let's end this. I'm tired. So that was fun. Infinity War was overall just like a blast of a pop culture event. I mean, they made it a fun time, and I enjoyed it immensely. And I enjoyed watching a bunch of Marvel stuff around it and talking about it with you, sir. And we hope you enjoyed listening to it as well. And if not, so next time we don't have anything in the pipeline, but it's been a long time since we've done a science episode. So, and they're talking about bringing back some Tasmanian tigers, Jurassic Park style. So we should probably talk about that. So next time.
Oh, you could do Chameleon. He hasn't been done in anything.
All right, well, I've lost Dylan, so it's time to end this. So that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Demons from Outer Space. Follow us in the description on the Sons of Sarazawa Network homepage. And we will talk to you next time. Until then, I'm Bill Worster, a.k.a. Zazubaar.
And I'm Super DM64, and you should definitely do Man-Wolf, Marvel. Give me a Man-Wolf movie.
Oh my god. Yeah, but if they do Man-Wolf, they have to also do Venom, and they're already doing Venom, kind of, so...
They don't have to do Venom if they do Man-Wolf.
I know, but they're always linked to me because of the cartoon, so...
Fuck the cartoon.
Jameson always goes into space, and he gets the Man-Wolf powers, and he also gets Venom, so...
I mean, listen, it's not impossible that we could get a new version of J. Jonah Jameson in this Venom movie, because, you know, the reporting thing might happen. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe Man-Wolf for the Venom sequel.
Yeah, I would be down with that. I mean, they've discussed before that this Venom movie is sort of it's in the MCU in the same way that the Netflix stuff is. So.
Mm-hmm. I found out that the Life Foundation is indeed from the comics. It's not just
all of those characters are from the comics, thankfully.
Yeah, Scream is the name of that female symbiote. I finally remembered.
Oh, I remember that now.
Scream.
Shriek is the one who fucks Carnage, though, and she's not a symbiote.
No, yeah, she has like sonic powers or something. Her and Carnage and the Spider-Man doppelganger from Infinity War.
His name was Doppelganger, right?
Yeah, well, see, in the Infinity War storyline, there were a bunch of different doppelgangers that showed up. They were all created by the Magus, who is in himself like an evil version of Adam Warlock. And so there were all these doppelganger versions of Marvel heroes that show up on Earth and try to replace the Marvel heroes. And for some reason, after that event was over, the Spider-Man doppelganger stuck around and was a recurring villain for a while.
I read Maximum Carnage back in the day. I remember. Well, yeah. Read comics, kids. Read. It's good for you. Good night.